There's always been an obsession among the paparazzi and the public about celebrity power couples, but few relationships caught the public eye like Elvis Presley and Ann Margret Olsen's. Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll, but his musical talent wasn't the only thing that contributed to his popularity. He also had incredible sex appeal, which he used to swoon the ladies. But the relationship he was best known for was his marriage to Priscilla Presley. But his relationship with Ann Margret is what many people still remember. Let's look at how Ann Margret truly felt about Elvis Presley. Ann Margret. Ann Margret Olsen was born April 28, 1941 in Stockholm, Sweden. She spent the first few years of her childhood in Valsjöben, a small town near the Arctic Circle. Later, she and her family emigrated to the U.S. On the day she arrived in November of 1946, her father took her to Radio City Music Hall, which must have sparked an interest in performing. She became an American citizen in 1949. As a child, her mother took her to dancing and singing lessons. As a teen, she'd perform on shows such as Ted Mack's Amateur Hour. She also began acting in school plays, which led to her interest in pursuing acting as a full-time career. Her professional music career began in the early 60s. In 1961, she began recording songs for RCA Victor. Her debut album was And Here She Is, Ann Margret. The album was a hit, and her music career took off. It was during this decade that another singer, Elvis Presley, was taking the world by storm. To capitalize on Elvis's popularity, record producers asked Ann Margret to record many of Elvis's most popular songs, including Heartbreak Hotel. She was even told to sing her songs in a similar style to Elvis. During this decade, her professional acting career also began. Her cinema debut was in the 1961 film Pocket Full of Miracles, directed by Frank Capra, a remake of his 1933 movie Lady for a Day. The film was a huge success, and Ann Margret won a Golden Globe for Most Promising Female Newcomer. The film was followed up by the 1962 film State Fair and the 1963 film Bye Bye Birdie, which made her a household name. Before we tell you more about Ann Margret's true feelings towards Elvis, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First for more. Viva Las Vegas. In Viva Las Vegas, a race car named Lucky Jackson decides to take up a job as a waiter to help buy a new engine for his car. He eventually meets and falls in love with a beautiful girl named Rusty Martin. Lucky was played by Elvis, and Rusty was played by Ann Margret. The two had great on-screen chemistry, and no doubt, Lucky and Rusty became one of the most talked-about couples in movie history. But the romance went beyond the screen. While working on Viva Las Vegas, Elvis and Ann Margret began a relationship. Their relationship ended shortly after filming ended. But the affair would become one of the most discussed relationships in the history of celebrity couples. Decades later, in 2005, Rose McGowan would portray Ann Margret in the miniseries Elvis. It focused on Elvis Presley's life and career and included segments on his relationship with Ann. One would think that such a short-lived relationship would be forgotten about, but Ann Margret loved Elvis Presley and was happy she had a relationship with him. Now, almost 60 years later, Ann Margret is confirming her true feelings towards Elvis Presley. How they fell in love. Ann Margret felt a spark when she met Elvis Presley, and he clearly felt the same. She later remarked in a New York Times interview, "We both felt a current, electricity that went straight through us. It would become a force we couldn't control." Ann Margret also recalled she wasn't thinking of Elvis's then-girlfriend Priscilla, whom he later married. Priscilla wasn't on set, and the relationship didn't seem to hinder either Ann nor Elvis. For a year, the two would meet whenever they could. They'd also call each other and write love letters. Nevertheless, Elvis was committed to Priscilla and had the intention of marrying her. He eventually broke up with Ann after telling her he was going to marry Priscilla. She respected his wishes, and the two broke up amicably. Despite them not continuing their romantic relationship, the two remained friends. Whenever Ann had a live musical performance, Elvis would send her flowers to congratulate her. In August of 1977, she didn't receive flowers from Elvis after a performance. Shortly after, she learned Elvis had died. His death was a shock to fans all over the world. To this day, Elvis is seen as a great singer and one of America's foremost sex symbols. Ann Margret's true feelings. The public and media alike don't let Ann Margret forget about the relationship. But even if we move on, Ann Margret still remembers her love affair and friendship with Elvis many years later. She eventually married her manager, Roger Smith, in 1967, who was also an actor in his own right. They remained married until Roger's death in 2017. She felt she married the right man, but never regretted her relationship with Elvis. In her book, Ann Margret, My Story, she referred to Elvis as being her soulmate. She also stated Elvis actually wished the two of them could stay together. Though their relationship only lasted a year, she said they were deeply in love and their relationship was one of the most meaningful of her life. Priscilla Presley did eventually find out about Elvis's affair with Ann Margret. This did anger him, and the two finally divorced in 1973. Roger Smith would also get uncomfortable whenever Ann recalled her relationship with Elvis. Now, in her 80s, she's more open to discussing her relationship with Elvis and how she truly felt. Fans can now confirm their relationship, though short-lived, was full of love and affection. While they went their separate ways, it's clear there was true love between them. What's Ann Margret up to today? Ann's acting career and music career continued well after she broke up with Elvis. Her acting career especially brought her to prominence. She soon became a lead actress in films such as Once a Thief, The Cincinnati Kid, and The Swinger. But the film that really took off was the 1971 film Carnal Knowledge, in which she acted alongside Jack Nicholson, who had just become a major star. For her role, she was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress Academy Award. With this film, her popularity increased even more, except now she was taken seriously as an actress, rather than a Hollywood bombshell. The film was a departure from the innocent romantic comedies like Viva Las Vegas, but also a divergence from sex comedies like The Swinger. She continued to get offered supporting and lead roles in major films. In 1975, she was nominated for another Academy Award, this time for Best Actress for her role in Ken Russell's film Tommy. Her later roles included work in films as varied as Grumpy Old Men, Any Given Sunday, Taxi, The Breakup, and Old Dogs. Her latest release is the 2021 film Queen Bees, in which she stars alongside James Caan, Ellen Burstyn, Loretta Devine, and Christopher Lloyd. She also had a few notable roles on TV. She voiced a fictitious version of herself in The Flintstones with a character named Ann Margret. She also appeared as herself in an episode of Here's Lucy alongside Lucille Ball. She played Sally Jackson in Alex Haley's Queen and had minor roles in Law & Order SVU, CSI, and Touched by an Angel. And she's showing no signs of slowing down. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think she and Elvis should have remained together? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.